Maining GM Sniper 2 or not, that is what we were talking about today. So to start it off, GM Sniper 2 is, well, it's a sniper, obviously, but more specifically, it's a long-range hit-scan mobile suit. So GM Sniper 2 fires low-frequency powerful shots from a 5-round magazine. The shots only deal 440 damage to the body, but if hit to the head, it's 1100. That's a lot of damage, meaning it can one-shot everything in the cast except for Sazabi, Marasai, Guntank, and Dom Trooper. Though those will only have 100 HP left, except for Sazabi that'll have 300. That's not a lot, so it's very, very powerful in general. GM Sniper has only one dash ability, and it also only has 800 hit points, meaning that it can't really do that much if it gets dove upon. So it has weaknesses in that situation. Essentially what you're doing playing the character is stacking all of your potential into kills. It's a glass cannon that plays to sneak kills from across the map, essentially. And pressure the enemy from off angles, which are alternate angles than what the core of your team's playing on. And it threatens them with the harsh reality of there's a chance that if it just clicks on you, you die, most likely. So if you like playing snipers in other games and just alt F4ing players out of existence, then yeah, try GM Sniper, right? Just don't really expect to play it in every situation because it is a sniper character. So how good is GM Sniper? GM Sniper is extremely, extremely powerful in the right circumstances, like oppressively powerful. It has the highest single target threat capability in the game, which is especially oppressive considering there is not instant movement in the game, meaning that characters are easier to hit. In addition to this, the head hitboxes are large. They were very large in the PC network test, and the bullet size was massive also. They are nerfing those down, but there's a good chance it's still going to be pretty easy to hit headshots with this in comparison to something like Widowmaker in Overwatch. In addition to these capabilities, GM Sniper also has the capability to access high ground with its jump pad ability, which is really nice. And it has a Vulcan pod that fires at the same time as its sniper, as it's aiming down a sniper and shooting if it wants to. And that is a hit scan based ability that deals up to 600 damage. So very powerful in its own ability to finish off kills. And its ultimate gives it wall sides for 15 seconds. And on top of all this power, it has an unnecessary really for its kit, but it still has a ranged res ability. And it shoots this at a teammate that is downed and it reses them. And the part about it that is really, really powerful is you don't have to continue focusing on it. You don't have to do anything with it after you fire. So you can continue fighting again. So it's just, look at them, fire it, and move away. However, all of this capability, except for the resurrection, is all related to how good your aim is. So if your aim is really good, then the above is just, horrifyingly powerful, right? If your aim is bad, then, well, you don't do a lot of damage just shooting the map, right? So this also does relate to the map that you're playing on, as you need to be playing on the right map, because if you're not, then the character will suffer. So in regards to skill requirement, this character is very, very aim based. It's not super hard to hit your shots, especially, but that's like all the character's capability put into one thing. So it's a high mechanically and skill intensive character. It just doesn't really matter how good you are with the character if your aim is bad. So really, really important. On top of this, the Vulcan pod requires good mechanical tracking aim to get max value out of, as it can do up to 600 damage, like I said. The jump pad and repair gun don't really require anything, but they're not the main part of GM Sniper's gameplay. GM Sniper seems like a low understanding character in regards to game knowledge. It seems like a character that you just, walk in, forehead, click on the enemy and you win. But that's not really how it works, especially at a higher level. Basically what happens is your game knowledge will either just completely multiply your capability or it will completely delete it to nothing. So this is mainly about macro positioning. So your general positioning across the map and where you choose to go to. Because the sightlines you threaten can multiply your value or nerf it. Also, you are additionally a glass cannon, like I mentioned. So if your timing is bad, you can get poked out and not be able to fight, or you can just die. So this is really important, especially when you're taking an aggressive flank. Knowing how to do that will increase your value drastically. Additionally, it's really important to understand target priority, especially when you're playing against another GM Sniper. There's times you got to know when you want to take 1v1s against them, when you don't want to take 1v1s against them. And regardless of this, you need to know where a GM Sniper would be likely to be. Just because if you don't know where they are, that they can easily get a kill on you. So It's really important to know this sort of stuff. Essentially, what GM Sniper is if you do know good enough how to play the character and you have solid aim, it'll just become a point and click adventure. And if you don't have any of these capabilities, well, then it'll be a respawn simulator. So moving on from this, will it get buffed or nerfed soon? Unfortunately, I don't expect them to really change anything else too much anyway. The thing about it, other than what they've already done about nerfing the hitbox sizes, specifically the headshots, and nerfing the bullet size, is that they can't really do more than that, as it would fundamentally change the character. They couldn't really nerf the damage down to not being a one-shot, because then there's no real reason to play GM Sniper. It's essentially an unnecessary but present evil that we have to deal with in the game. I personally don't really like these characters in the game, just because of, a multitude of reasons that I'll talk about in another video, but there it's in it, and so can't stop you guys from playing it. So they might eventually do some sort of a minor change to the character. I wouldn't be too surprised if they change the headshot damage from 1100 to 1000. That would give it the inability to one-shot something that has a little bit of overhealth, or like something like a turn A Gundam, meaning the turn A Gundam would be more effective against the GM Sniper. So it wouldn't fundamentally change it, but it would give it a little bit of a nerf. They might do that, and also might mean it would, other characters that don't get one shot would still have more health left over, while still letting it do its one shot capability. But yeah, so like I said, they can't really change anything other than that. They can't do anything substantial enough that you're not gonna be able to one shot people. Like at the beginning of Overwatch, Widowmaker could, I believe, do something like a damage boosted body shot to get a one shot kill, which was insane. Or was a full charge body shot, is some crazy stuff. But they ended up nerfing it down, but you still one shot headshot, so it's super powerful. The Vulcan pod might get a nerf in damage, since it does do 600, and that's a lot. It might also get nerfed being able to be used right at the same time, which is a really powerful ability, because you can shoot like a Stormtrooper in the head and then finish it with the Vulcan pod damage. But really the most realistic change I want to see in this character is a change to how Widowmaker. Oh guys, I'm going back to my roots. A change on how GM Sniper's ultimate works. I'd rather the wall sights be like pulsing, so you don't always see them, and as opposed to it just being this really oppressive permanent sights, like where you can just see them walk around a corner and headshot them right as they do it. So moving on, how fun is the character? It's really fun if you are good at it. So while they have nerfed the headshot boxes and the bullet size, when I was playing it in the beta, the network test, I felt like I was just absolutely crazy. Like, I have a really nice clip of me just hitting 4 people in the head on a flank and just walking away. But my aim isn't like sniper material, so we'll see exactly how the nerfs go. But regardless, it felt excellent. The sound and the feel of headshots are absolutely top tier. Like I said, it won't be quite as powerful after this, but you'll still be able to terrorize people. And if you like doing things like aim training or just playing sniper characters in general, then there's really nothing more needs to be said. Just play the character. The power rush of crushing enemies across the map and carrying your team on your back is just too good. However, I do have to say it can be frustrating in the same vein. If you're playing on a smaller map, it's frustrating. And it's also frustrating to not really be able to just hot swap on the GM Sniper and carry. Because if you hot swap onto it on a certain maps, it's just not going to be a good map, and you're going to have a Zaku running down onto you constantly, and it's not going to get you good enough value. So moving on to the final rating. If you're at the absolute top level of the game, then we're giving it an S tier rating. If you're not, then it's going to only get a C. If you are at the thing is, if you are at the absolute top, then this character will be incredibly powerful and will always be meta on certain maps and certain points, even if the meta turns into some weird crazy stuff. And considering the power that it'll have on these maps, it's super beneficial to have a good GM Sniper on your team, so because they can actually just deadlift those maps. And that's basically what it is. Like in Overwatch, which I do reference sometimes, especially when the character is so similar like Widowmaker is to this, people would people will get signed up to teams just because they played Widowmaker. Just like literally only because they played Widowmaker, they were just only good at that character, and they could get signed on a team just because it was that powerful, that influential to have a character that a player who you could base your whole team around on these maps. So that, and the fact that you can just pop off and carry your games constantly, and there's like an infinite skill cap with the ability to one shot. That's why it's getting an S tier for the higher ranks. However, if you're a lower rank, like I said, you're only going to get C rank, and that's because there are just honestly better options. It's just not good for the majority of the players as a main unit because they don't aim as well as these high tier players, and you're going to suffer in some of those categories. The character scales down based on how bad you are. So if you're not like really good at the character, then you're going to be getting drastically less value overall. Though in the same vein, it does improve as you improve. It's just like if you're, mid tier or below mid tier, you're just not going to be, you're going to be pulled down by the character's mechanical requirement that you could have gotten higher based on other characters and game sense. The character is just not flexible at all, and it will only be good on certain maps. So yeah, you'll be popping off on certain maps potentially, but in other ones you will absolutely just not. It's it's okay to learn other mobile suits with, but it's on the farthest end of the hit scan spectrum. So, basically it goes like these single shot type weapons that take time to going into like, first that character, and then like Ashimar, and then RX-78, and then Pale Rider, and then Zaku with like these hit scan things and how fast they fire, and whether it turns into flicking aiming or tracking aiming. And GM Sniper's on the farthest scale of the flicking aiming. So while it can help you learn these other hit scan suits, it's not the best option. And if that's the only reason you're going to pick the character for the ability to learn other characters, then just play one of the other hit scans like Pale Rider, RX-78, or Ashimar. Picking GM Sniper as your main, then make sure to check out this GM Sniper 2 mobile suit guide I made. In the video, I talk about its strengths and weaknesses, its abilities, when to play it, and how you should play it.